There's a certain dress that's a sundress that I've made multiple times, wide straps, bra friendly, but now you can add sleeves to the same pattern. So exciting. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and I'm coming to you very early in the morning to share an item I made just a few hours ago, and I'm so excited to share. I've said before, dreams can come true in your sewing if you have enough fabric, and that's exactly what happened this time because I'm using a scrap left over from another project. I used up to the very last amounts of it, and it came out exactly like I dreamed, but even better. Before I go any further, what am I wearing? I'm wearing my new chorus sweater. This is a sweater because I used a sweater knit. Has the shallow drape over here, so lovely. At the back it's got a simple back, and I made a video all about it just a few hours ago. New pattern at Love Notions that is in its release week, which means it's on sale. So if you haven't seen this one, go ahead and look. It's so lovely and perfect for a very chilly morning when I'm filming here for you outside. A few months ago I made a pair of Tin Lee shorts. The original pattern is a short or a skirt, but because I love the fit so much, I got an amazing dead stock fabric from Farm Rio. I had enough of it and I made pants instead. I showed you how you can adapt the shorts to just bring it all the way down to the floor if that's something that you like. They turned out amazing. They are the most comfortable, amazing pull-on pants with a flat front, elasticated back, beautiful pockets, and the fabric is just everything. Now, because these are wide leg pants, you need a whole length of fabric for each leg. So what you end up is a whole bunch of fabric on the sides. I try to do that where the fold of the fabric is. That's how I get more width of that leftover fabric. So I had all these long strips of fabric. I always knew I was going to use the tempo to make a little top to go with it. Now the tempo is a dress, and it's a pattern I've made several times before. This is how the line-out looks, and it's a feature Friday today. So it's a great time to get it for only $5. My affiliate link and my discount code are always in the description box and the pinned comment. If you use my link and end up purchasing, you don't pay anything extra. It's just that I receive a small commission back, and that is one way that I make an income making videos on YouTube. At the end of the episode, I'll show you a few images of my other versions, but it's about this version today. It's so amazing. So I always knew I was going to use this pattern because it uses very little fabric if you make it into a peplum instead. It's not an official part of the pattern. The pattern is a dress where the skirt goes up to the knee, or you can add a second tee and you can make it longer. But I've already made a peplum in the past. I just measured the amount of fabric I had left there, and I got a peplum that's about 25 centimeters, about 10 inches. So that's nice. I always knew that at the back of my mind I could do that again. And how long that peplum was going to be was just going to depend on how much fabric there was left over. But then comes another feature that was added onto this pattern, and Tammy posted a little sneak peek about it, and we sort of knew about it a little while ago, and she added on a sleeve to the tempo dress. So now you can add a sleeve to it, and it doesn't have to be a sundress if you want a sleeve. It's an add-on to the pattern. I will link below to the video that Love Notions has made about this because they will explain to you better how to get the add-on. I will also describe it in the description box and the pinned comments, so it's easy for you to know how to get the add-on. If you purchase the pattern now, it will be already included in the pattern files. But I'm not exactly sure what happens if you've already bought the pattern in the past. Love Notions will clarify that for you. This is a pretty big pattern piece. It's got gathers here that you sew onto the strap, and then for the hem you can leave it plain and it looks more like a flutter sleeve, or you can just hem it a little bigger and add a casing for an elastic in there, and then it looks more like a puff sleeve. Both sleeve styles is the same pattern piece. The way that you hem it is going to change the way that it looks. So I printed out my pattern piece hoping and wishing that I was going to get enough fabric to be able to do my little peplum top with the sleeve. The only thing I did to get this to fit was cut the sleeve on the cross grain. Same for the peplum. I figured out I had a little piece there on the side, measured how much length that was going to give me. I end up with a peplum that's 6 inches, 15 centimeters. So I think that's okay. I can deal with that. It's really cute, and it's going to be perfect over the Tin Lee wide leg pants. So my dream did come true. Now, one thing that I was not going to incorporate into this top was the shirt panel at the back. There's a larger piece of fabric that you do all the shirring to. When you do that, it just shrinks. Once you have that, then you get a template from the pattern to cut out that piece, and that's what goes at the back. This allows the dress to stretch. You don't need to have a zipper, and you still get a semi-fitted bodice without having to do a zipper. So it's great. But I definitely did not have enough fabric to do all that shirring, all the amount of fabric I needed there. I placed that pattern piece on there and it was either the shirred panel or the sleeves. I really wanted the sleeves, so I didn't do that, and instead I replaced it with a piece of knit. Very stable athletic knit that just replaces that shirred panel and is also going to allow stretch. So you'll see there that it does have a contrast. My athletic fabric is black, my main fabric is beige and black, but I think it looks fine. I'm very happy with it, and it's a trade-in. I was very happy to have these sleeves that are amazing. I have filmed my process for you. Very different to how you sew the traditional tempo dress. You can look back at all the videos I've made about this pattern. They are in a little playlist. I will leave it linked down in the description box for you. But this method is totally different and totally easy. I'm not going to be setting in my sleeve on the flat as usual. I'm going to do it on the round. I just prefer it that way. Let's quickly see how to whip this up. Super easy. These are my pieces for this version of the tempo. I'm going to be making a top instead of a dress. So the bodice pieces in essence stay the same. Only I have transformed the front piece, which is just one piece with a buster, into princess seams. I've done that about 2 years ago. And I keep using that, and in this case it was really handy because these little pieces are easy to cut out from small pieces of fabric left over. All of this fabric is left over from making Tinley pants, long pants a few months ago. Very small amount of fabric left, and having 2 pieces here definitely helps me cut it out. If I had the full front here, I wouldn't have been able to cut it out from the fabric I had. That's the back. These are 2 pieces, and in the middle of these 2 we put this panel. This is meant to be shirred, so it's a larger piece of fabric where you do the shirring and then you use this template to cut it out. But I actually use that template as a pattern piece to cut it out of a really heavy athletic knit. So this is what's going to let me get into my dress without a zipper. My straps are interfaced. I like doing that.
I measured a very short peplum. This is just a shorter piece of the skirt, so the skirt would come down lower, but the way that you sew it on is the same. The length I have here is 16 centimeters, which would be about 6 3/8 of an inch. That's going to take away a bit of seam allowance here and a bit of hem allowance. But I'm going to really like it. It's going to look nice and cute with my wide leg Tinley pants. So little short peplum here.
And what is brand new here is the sleeve add-on. So we know the tempo was a sundress with the wide straps, very bra friendly, but now Tammy has added on this sleeve piece. This is going to be gathered all into the armhole over here. The way you finish the hem can be just a simple hem, and that would make it a flutter sleeve, or you could sew the hem allowance a little larger to make a casing for an elastic. Would make it look more like a puff sleeve. You can also use some rows of shirring at the bottom to bring it in. What I'm going to do is just hem it normal as a small hem allowance and just let the fabric drape. This is a Rayon linen blend. I think the sleeve is going to drape really nicely and look a little bit dramatic, so I'm not going to be doing any special hem here. I want to show you what I've done with my facing pieces before even putting this together. So this is one of the back facing pieces. I have already serged the side seams and the bottom. It's just so much easier to get it done first. My front facing piece is one. It was cut on the fold, and I've also done the side seams and the piece at the bottom. So I suggest doing that. It just makes everything easier for later. I'm going to put the back pieces together along with my knit little piece. Now this would be the exact same thing if you had the shirred piece right here. It's the same thing. Remember, you would have shirred a bigger area and cut it to shape. Now I added a bit of hem allowance at the top of mine so that I could fold it back, and I've sewn that with a twin needle. So I've got them right here next to each other. This is one of the backs. Over here there's going to be another one, but we do this one by one. So I'm just going to flip these so that they're right sides together. I'm going to align this from the bottom, and going up you're going to have excess of the main fabric, because remember we're going to have a facing here, and this has already been finished with that fold, so you're meant to have that excess of 3/8 right there. Now this time the straps are different. With the original dress you would have taken your strap and folded it like this, right sides together lengthwise, and then flipped it. But in this case we're going to have a raw edge of the strap because it's going to have a sleeve on afterwards. So this is the folded edge of the strap, this is the raw edge. So after putting these pieces right sides together, I'm going to go ahead and put the strap here, the folded edge closer to this edge over here. This is the side seam. So we want this folded edge of the strap closer to this edge here. And on the pattern we're going to have little marks to guide you where the strap should go. So there we have our strap pinned on. You can see the little marks on the facing for the strap, And we have this shorter edge that is the side seam. The longer edge goes off here towards the center. It's going to match the shape anyway. You'll know how this goes together. And so now I'm going to put this right on top here. And this over here is going to be part of the armhole. So we don't want to sew that part of the facing. We want to leave it raw. So I'm just going to start sewing from here, from where the strap is. I can feel it, but I'm going to put a pin as reference that I'm only going to sew from there. So here, that way, and then that way.
So here I'm going to reinforce.
Over here we're just catching the edges of the fabric, not the knit underneath or your shirt piece. That should be free right there. Okay, there we have it all sewn. Now we can flip this. I'm just going to fold this like this. And you can see now that the strap is coming from within and my knit piece is in there as well. You can see the twin needle. So that's one side done. And here we have the edge of this facing. You can see here that we have the raw edge of the strap, but here we get this little fold. So if we just flip this again, I'm going to do a little snip to release that so that we get a fully raw armhole there. So my stitch went up to there, so just here I'm going to snip there.
We get all of this edge of this area raw, and this is going to be sewn with the sleeve afterwards. So it'll look like that.
I'm just going to hold it all together. Don't worry about that, but it's all going to be caught there with the sleeve. I'll just point out that I'm going to go ahead and serge that edge afterwards, all of this. I just want to put this together. So here is the other side. This is the side seam that I've already serged. This edge here hasn't been serged, it's raw. And now we take all of this and put it over here and do the exact same thing. Align at the bottom. We're going to have some excess at the top. We get our strap, the folded edge, closer to this edge over here and match it to the mark right here. And then we get our facing, align it over here and do the same thing. So from here and then all the way down there, and that's how the back comes together. Super easy. Now this is the front, and I have already got the front facing pinned on. I have already attached my princess seams, my side seams are serged and all of that. And now this is super easy. I have just aligned and pinned the center area. So when we get this first little mark, everything's free. So this is all we're going to sew now. But first we need to put in our straps. Now the straps are already in from constructing the back. So I'm just going to extend them like this and put these right sides together. This folded edge of the strap is going to go along that first little mark. So I'm just going to sneak these in underneath right here, pin them. And now that I've got everything aligned, I'm going to sew again just up to the edge of the strap over here. And the same on this other side. So it's a shorter seam, not sewing down the whole facing. So I'm going to sew from here down to the little V and across to this other side, leaving this armhole area free right here. What I did with this side is baste it together so it can act as one piece, and it's going to be easier to set in the sleeve afterwards. So there's 2 layers, but really just one. Now because I know I need to snip into here, I'm going to do that right now. There, and the same on this other side. I'm also going to snip into the middle of this V neckline. It's a soft V, but there is an angle that we need to release there as well. Now we can flip this facing to the inside right here, and we have an armhole. Right there, this is going to be the front armhole. I'm also going to give it a quick basting stitch so that it acts like one over here. I've gone to the iron and neatened everything up. The facings are in, the straps are in. Now this is raw, that's raw, that's raw, same as on this other side. And if you wanted to, you can sew your sleeve in on the flat. So you would have to align and find the middle point of this strap to align the middle point of the sleeve, and then you have all this gathering that you need to adjust into this area. I would still prefer to set it on the round though, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to align these like this. So these side seams, press them open so that I end up with a type of armhole here. And this is my sleeve over here. This is one of them. I have already sewn the seam of the sleeve. I have pressed it open. I have hemmed it. I've done the gathering stitches up here from the single notch to the double notch on the other side. So I'm ready to gather this in and pin it around this little armhole I'm going to have after sewing the side seam. Okay, I've got my sleeve inside my armhole. Here are the side seams. There's a few layers where the facings join right here, but that's the way it is. So over here, the top part of the sleeve has a mark, and I marked it with the half point of this strap. And then over here is a single notch, and it's roughly going to end up around where the strap meets the bodice, same as the back. Now, when I was doing the gathering, I decided to do more concentrated gathering up here, not exactly from the notch, so that I get more gathers at the top. It's just an aesthetic thing. The sleeve is going to fit in the same way. And because this is a sleeve that's got gathers, I'm going to sew like this with a presser foot on top of the gathers right there. These types of sleeves are stress-free because you don't have to worry about not getting gathers because the gathers are supposed to be there, so it can be done pretty fast. Sleeve sewn in. Let's see how it looks like from the other side. You can see where the strap is and the bodice, and then this turned into an armhole over here. On the top we have all these lovely gathers, so beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and serge this and then repeat on the other sleeve. Ta-da! Look at this beautiful little peplum tempo. It's not a dress, you know, you can always make a top out of a dress if you like that peplum look, because you do have a bodice seam right there, and then you get this little piece left over. So cute. This is slightly gathered into here, same as the back. It's not a huge amount of gathers. At the back we have that panel of knit that I love doing. I did this for my anniversary dress last year as well. Turned out beautiful. It's so much faster and easier than doing all the shirring. This time it wasn't because I didn't want to do the shirring, it was because I didn't have fabric, so that's fine. You can see the soft V. It looks a little bit like a sweetheart neckline. Then comes the strap. The edge of the strap was raw, and same as this part here of the facing, and then the sleeve was sewn in. My hem is just simple. You saw that I assembled all of my sleeve, even hemmed it before setting it in. It's just so much easier that way. I always do it like that, and I'm just so happy with the results. Let me turn it wrong sides out so you can see it. This one doesn't have a lined bodice. The bodices I've lined have always been with the lighter weight fabrics, rayon and crepe. But if I'm using a linen like here, I don't really think you need to line any bodice. This is how it looks inside. You can see the facing goes all the way up to the side seam here. It's just that this part of the facing was left raw, and the strap was left raw here to be able to sew the sleeve in like that. So nice. There's the facing. It does stay inside by itself. It's nicely interfaced. At the back, the facing goes after the panel this way and that way. The panel is by itself. It's just been hemmed over by 1 inch over here and done with a twin needle. And that's it. That's how it looks like on the inside. You saw that I did cut princess seams for mine. The princess seams are not part of the pattern. This is a hack I did a few years ago, and I made a video transforming several bodices that I really love and know fit me really well that have darts, and transform them into princess seams. I'll leave that link down for you below as well. The only way I was going to get this front piece was with these princess seams right here, because this would have been a full piece. It wouldn't have fit my fabric. So sometimes to make dreams come true, you need to have more seams. And I know that adding princess seams is always going to allow me to get these tiny pieces out of other bits of the fabric that I have left over. But I had literally nothing left of this fabric, but I am so happy. You're going to see this one styled 3 ways, and I'm just thrilled with how it turned out. It looks even more amazing than I had seen it in my mind. I'm going to leave my best outfit for the third look, so stick to the end of these 3 looks. Here I've got it paired with a linen skirt. This is a refashion I did a few years ago. This was originally a linen dress that I made into a skirt. Very lovely A-line shaped. I've got type of beige sneakers that match the beige tone in the top. The peplum is so well fitting, it hits my waist. The peplum is short, but it's not that short. I love it. I couldn't have made the peplum any longer even if I wanted. Up higher you can see the beautiful neckline. It's nice and fitted to my body. The straps stay in place. The neckline is just gorgeous. The facing is tucked in there very, very neatly. And these sleeves, what can I say? They're just so amazing, so dramatic. And they don't poof out that much. You know, this fabric does have quite a bit of rayon in there, so I think they do look nice, and there is a little bit of drape there. I have the simple hem for these sleeves, but you can also add a casing and an elastic at the hem of the sleeves. It would make it look more like a puff sleeve. At the back, instead of having the shirt panel in the center, I have a piece of very heavy, very structured athletic knit there. This allows you to pull on your dress without needing a zipper. I have princess seams on my bodice. That's a hack I did to the pattern years ago, and I keep using the same bodice because it fits so well. So that's amazing. I'm very happy with the fit. Now I've dressed up my little tempo peplum with a skirt I made a few years ago, self-drafted. It has a little bit of a flounce at the bottom. Look at these shoes, they're amazing. They have a small kitten heel that is super comfortable and easy to walk on. I don't get any sore feet from these shoes. They're just so pretty with the 2 tones in there, and the peplum goes beautifully. I would feel so amazing wearing this in real life, and I can't wait for that to happen. This top is just so amazing. I'm so thrilled. And here is the outfit I had been dreaming about ever since I made these Tinley shorts lengthened to pants a few months ago. I love them. The print is bold, it's striking, it's a dead stock fabric from Rayon. I had on my little tempo peplum with the sleeves. I can't wait to get out of the house dressed like this. I'm not trying to make it look like a fake jumpsuit. You can obviously tell it's not a jumpsuit because of the bodice seam and the peplum. You know, there's a time and a place. I'm going to feel amazing dressed in the same print, pretty much from below my face all the way down to the floor, and it's just amazing. I love it. It's so comfortable, and this is a dream come true. I'm just so happy I had just enough fabric to be able to pull this off, and it's amazing with the sleeve. Highly recommend. My dream come true, and I'm so happy. If you have to cut some pieces on the cross grain, that's fine. You know, the sleeves have all this ease. Don't worry that they're going to be shrinking or not fitting properly if they're on the cross grain. You know, this fabric has been washed several times before sewing anyway. Here, the shapes are on the cross grain as well, but who cares? The print is so bold and striking. Who cares? You know, I got my top, but that's what matters. Princess seams were a lifesaver as well that allowed me to get my top. And it's just amazing. How I go at putting the sleeves on the dress. I know a lot of you like having sleeves. This pattern didn't have sleeves obviously because it was a sundress, but everything's possible with sewing. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to grab your tempo dress if you don't have it today at only $5. It's an amazing discount. Thanks for spending a bit of your time with me on this Friday. I will see you very soon on this channel with more sewing. Bye.